Chuck Barris was the original wild card of American television. From the Gong Show to the dating game, he gave us some of the most eccentric, chaotic moments ever to hit the screen. But what if there was more to this quirky producer than meets the eye? What if behind the cameras, Barris was living a life as a covert operative, a secret agent sent on dangerous missions by the CIA? According to his own shocking claims, Barris wasn't just a showman, he was also an assassin. Today we dive into the twisted life of the man who blurred the lines between entertainment and espionage, good taste and debauchery. Was Chuck Barris telling the truth, or was it all an elaborate hoax by the ultimate prankster? Who was Chuck Barris? How did he get started in the entertainment business? What were his successes and failures? Why was there such a controversy around his life?
Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and Marine Corps veteran, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History.
Charles Hirsch Barris was born June 3, 1929 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His father, Nathaniel Barris, was a dentist, and his mother, Edith, were both Jewish. His uncle was the singer, songwriter, and actor Harry Barris. Chuck Barris grew up in Lower Merion Township, and he attended Lower Merion High School. He graduated in 1953 from Drexel University, where he was a columnist for the school newspaper, The Triangle. Barris started working in television at NBC in New York as a page, and then on the staff as a page, and later as part of the staff at NBC in New York City on page status until he left to start working at the television music show American Bandstand for ABC under Dick Clark. Barris's first wife was Lynn Levy, the niece of one of the founders of CBS, which lasted from 1957 to 1976 until they divorced, and they had one daughter named Adela, who often appeared on The Gong Show, introducing her father as Chucky Baby. Barris became a music producer for records and television, and also wrote the song Palisades Park, which was recorded by the singer Freddie Cannon. The song reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart for 2 weeks, from June 23rd to 30th, 1962, and it was Cannon's greatest hit. Barris continued writing music and wrote and co-wrote some of the music that appeared on his various game shows. Barris moved to ABC in Los Angeles, leading the daytime programming division to determine which game shows and concepts ABC would air on TV. Barris convinced his bosses that his own ideas were better than what they were receiving, so to prove his point, he became a producer. He created Chuck Barris Productions on June 14, 1965. The first show was The Dating Game, which aired on ABC in 1965 and was hosted by the late Jim Lang, which featured 3 contestants who competed for a date with a person blocked from their view. The show ran until 1980, but it was later brought back in the 1980s and 90s, off and on, with a celebrity version starting in June 2021. Barris saw great success with the Newlywed Game in 1966, hosted by Bob Eubanks, and it lasted until 1985, but it was revived from 1996 to 1999. Barris also created other programs like ABC's Operation Entertainment, a variety show staged at military bases very similar to USO shows, as well as bringing an old favorite called Your Hit Parade for CBS and The Bobby Benton Show. However, Barris's greatest hit in cultural imagination was the short-lived The Gong Show, which he took over from the initial host, John Barber, and he earned the nickname Chucky Baby there. It was considered a garish, demented variety show with Barris as the host and ringmaster. He pushed hard against the boundaries of good taste and was regarded as deplorable by mainstream reviewers, but it won a devoted following. The show only ran from 1976 to 1978, But the zany antics of the B-celebrity panel, consisting of actor Jamie Farr from MASH, J.P. Morgan, and comic Artie Johnson, added interest. Regular entertainment such as Gene the Dancing Machine and the stand-up comic Murray Langston, who appeared as my personal favorite, the unknown comic, and wore a brown paper bag over his head and told crude jokes, both became icons. Random guests were on the show, just average people, featured performers who had peculiar talents and often no talent at all, and if they were gonged, they were out of the competition. Chuck Barris put everyday people off the street who did not mind exposing their vulnerabilities or answering embarrassing questions before the cameras, and sometimes he put his celebrity panel on the spot. Guests on the show were a delightful mix of the eccentric and the outrageous, showcasing bizarre talents that ranged from the spectacular to the utterly talentless. When the infamous gong sounded, it meant instant elimination, adding a thrilling twist to the competition. Barris boldly placed everyday would-be heroes directly in the spotlight, encouraging them to reveal their most embarrassing moments and answer cringeworthy questions. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more intense, he turned the tables on his celebrity panel on several occasions, putting them in the hot seat and making them squirm. Occasionally, someone would actually launch a successful career through the show. One great example was the late country musician Boxcar Willie, who was a 1977 Gong Show winner. Barris called himself the king of daytime television, but to critics he was the king of schlock or the baron of bad taste. The media mocked him and accused him of exploiting his contestants. But Barris defended his actions, and he said, "Let me ask you something which does the most harm, a Gong Show or the killings, pistol whippings, and flying blood you see on evening drama? And the critics blame me for cracking culture," he stated in the Los Angeles Times interview. As the Gong Show and Barris' other series were fading from popularity, he sold his company for a reported $100 million in 1980 and decided to go into films. "When I started out, I was trying to find good talent, but all I found was bad talent. So I said, let's do a show with bad talent," Barris said in a 2009 interview with the National Public Radio show Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. The Gong Show was apparently his favorite. He also said, "I always thought the people who did my shows, the contestants, were having the times of their lives." In 1980, Barris married Robin Altman, but they divorced in 1999, during which time Barris tried to revive his TV magic, but without much success, and he moved to France. But he returned in 1984 and formed Barris Industries, which he had later sold to Burt Sugarman in 1987, and then he returned to France. This was probably why he wrote his autobiography titled Confessions of a Dangerous Mind in 1984. In it, he claimed that he worked for the Central Intelligence Agency in the 1960s and 1970s throughout Southeast Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East, primarily as an assassin. He claimed to be a decorated CIA assassin, saying that after chaperoning a winning couple from the dating game on their dream date to an exotic location, he would disappear, kill someone by booking flights under the name Sonny Six Killer, and then return to Los Angeles to contend with his enemies at the networks. The book did get a lot of attention, much of it unwanted. The CIA publicly denied that Barris was ever an employee, and after the release of the movie, the CIA spokesman Paul Nowak said Barris's claims are ridiculous. It's absolutely not true. "It sounds like he's been standing too close to the gong all those years," says CIA spokesman Tom Crispell. Chuck Barris has never been employed by the CIA, and the allegation that he was a hired assassin is absurd. After the book came out, Barris admitted on NBC's Today Show that he had lied about it all, saying, "No, I was never a CIA hitman. I never did those things. I once applied for the CIA, and while I was going through the process, I got a job and went on television. But I had always wondered what would have happened if I had done both." Barris also stated that after having been hired by the CIA through a want ad, he aced his training and was soon infiltrating a civil rights march in Selma, Alabama. He also claimed that at age 16 he convinced his sister's 13-year-old friend to lick his wee-wee by telling her it tasted like a strawberry lollipop. He also claimed that in 1953 he took his 75-year-old grandmother on a camping trip to the Poconos for a great day. Unfortunately, when he woke up the next morning, she was dead, so he zipped her body into a sleeping bag, tied it to the roof of his Volkswagen, and drove to a police station. And while he was inside making a report, someone stole his car. He also claimed that when ABC decided to air the dating game, the CIA said, "Hey, no reason you can't be a successful TV producer and a spy." He stated that he kept avoiding assignments until his CIA boss said, "Come with me to Mexico City, it'll be fun," that they were going to kill a communist revolutionary. According to Barris, they did the hit, and after returning, he had 3 ex-cons destroy the Cadillac of someone claiming to be a dating game talent scout and raping would-be contestants. Then the CIA had him meet a courier in London where he exchanged an envelope full of money for a roll of microfilm. He apparently then jammed his silenced pistol into the courier's mouth and pulled the trigger 3 times, whereupon the man's eyes remained surprised while the back of his head splattered against the wall of the church. He said that he then greased the bullet-shaped vial, dropped my pants, and slid the vial up my ass. He claimed that many of his friends were killed because there was a mole in the CIA, but he managed to kill the mole. He also said that he received an Outstanding Service Award for his work. He also claimed that he spent $20,000 on abortions for his many girlfriends. In 1988, Barris bought the Goober Peters Company, which he renamed Goober Peters Entertainment Company, and that was sold to Sony Pictures Entertainment for $200 million on September 29, 1989, and they also bought Columbia Pictures Entertainment the following day. The Gong Show came back in 1998 and was renamed Extreme Gong, and was a Game Show Network original production, but Barris was dealing with the death of his daughter, Della, who at 36 died of an alcohol and cocaine overdose in 1998, and it apparently hit Barris very hard. In 2000, he married Mary Claggett while still trying to get back into the limelight, and he was able to work some deals. Sony, along with MTV Network's Comedy Central, collaborated on a 4th Gong Show with Barris in 2008 called The Gong Show, hosted by Dave Attell, but it only aired on TV from July to September 2008. Sony also revived the old show Three's a Crowd as the all-new Three's a Crowd, which, like Extreme Gong, was a GSN original. A few years after Extreme Gong ended, Sony planned to revive the show again under its classic name and format for the Warner Brothers television network, but this show was never approved. But Barris's legend was resurrected, as well as his controversy, when the film version of his book, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, directed by George Clooney, starred Sam Rockwell playing Chuck Barris. Barris, who was supposed to have killed 33 people while working as an assassin for the CIA, then wrote a sequel to that book in 2004 called Bad Grass Never Dies. Hollywood and the public at large had no idea what to believe. Barris did an interview in 2010 with the Television Academy Foundation, and he was asked if he had ever disclosed the truth about his life to anyone, including his wife. "No, never," Barris said. "I'll never say one way or the other." Some celebrities consider Barris crass and lacking decorum. He was blunt, direct, and overbearing. He was known to be very abrasive and confrontational when pitching his concepts and selecting his talent, and not beyond using insults when addressing a show idea he thought was less than stellar in favor of one of his own. He was one of the most productive entertainment executives in history and was responsible at one point for almost 28 hours of network TV every week, starting long before there was cable or satellite TV. Barris's list of shows included many that were short-lived, but some that became TV history and are still seen in syndication on cable networks. His complete list of written books are You and Me, Babe in 1974, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind in 1984, The Game Show King in 1993, Bad Grass Never Dies in 2004, The Big Question in 2007, Who Killed Art Deco in 2009, and Della, a memoir of my daughter in 2010. There was still great controversy over Barris's life because he often disappeared for weeks or months at a time without explanation over the decades, which often gave credence to the belief that he was in fact a CIA operative after his book came out. But there is one arena where his outrageous claims found a home. Producer Andrew Lazar acquired the rights to Chuck Barris's book, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, an unauthorized biography. Lazar, who knew Barris and was with him 6 weeks before his death, was the Oscar-nominated producer of American Sniper, and when asked about Barris's being a CIA assassin, he said to Tatiana Siegel of The Hollywood Reporter that the day after Barris's death, Lazar said, "It's possible." But Lazar, who remained a close friend of Barris's and visited him just 6 weeks prior to his death on March 21st, said the iconic TV personality never backed down from his story, even if the CIA emphatically denied that Barris worked for the spy agency. However, it would appear that being the practical joker that he was, Barris probably created his fake past as a way to get notoriety and stoke interest in him regarding his prospective TV programs. Barris was diagnosed with lung cancer in the 1990s and underwent surgery to remove part of his lung. He contracted a post-operative infection and spent a month in an intensive care unit, but was then released. Chuck Barris died on March 21st, 2017 at the age of 87 at his home in Palisades, New York, where he lived with his third wife, Mary Claggett. In the end, Chuck Barris left behind a legacy that's as enigmatic and entertaining as he was. As the mastermind behind some of the most bizarre, groundbreaking game shows of his time, he pushed the boundaries of television, blending humor, absurdity, and often raw humanity into each episode. Whether his claims of being a CIA assassin were truth or fantasy, Barris's life embodied a unique spirit of showmanship and intrigue. His shows gave regular people a moment in the spotlight, sometimes cringeworthy, sometimes brilliant, and always unforgettable.
Thank you for watching this episode of Forgotten History. If you liked what you saw, please click like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to assist with the ever-increasing cost of production, please consider becoming a channel member and joining our Patreon page. Please check out our merchandise store. And thanks for watching.